tell if him getting arrested happened
Right.
after everything, or were we looking back at a past?
Okay. Right.
So did he get 6 years and it's just like you did all this work and then you got locked up for something stupid, or are we looking at something from the past and now it's looking to what's gonna happen? I genuinely got lost on the end of this one.
Right. I don't see any reason why it would be a flashback. He had all these credits. He told it's not his mother, but his mother figure,
Yeah.
what he wanted to do. And it seems logical that now he wants out, but he wants out. He wants to break away. He wants to live in a world of bliss and ignorance. But
Right.
the empire is everywhere now, and their
Right.
oppressive reach goes even to, Phuket,
Right.
space age Phuket.
Yeah.
And I didn't read it any other way. I don't know how JP saw it.
Yeah, I read it the same. Mom doesn't want to go, so he had to go. He had to hide, and that's why he had a different name, and that's why he had all those credits hidden in the bathroom.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yes, that's right. Yes, he had
That
all
makes
those
sense.
credit in the bathroom. So yeah, it did seem like, I know what you're saying. It did seem like, whoa, we're at the beach. Well, okay, right.
Yeah, it was just like all of a sudden I was like, okay, different name. We're at the beach. He's sleeping with some chick, and it was like, wait. So he did. I guess maybe it's because I'm so not used to the characters actually just doing what they said they were gonna do. Like, there's always like that. Oh, I want to go and run off, and then not have to worry, and then they come back to save the day and be the hero.
We were thinking about Han Solo in the New Hope, taking off with his money and then coming back.
Yeah.
But Cassie, well, he's back in jail, and I got a sneaking suspicion our mate, the bureaucrat, crushed under his mother. Oh, that mother. Oh, I don't like that mother. I mean, she's great. Like Crispin is great, but I hate her like we hate Crispin as well. I was like, oh, that woman. Come on, mate, get out from cut the apron strings and get out of the house. In fact, just do a Norman Bates. Put a knife in her and just get out. But she provides the tension for him and helps explain why, he's such just this OCD character.
Yeah.
And I reckon he's going to find him in the jail. Like because he's looking for him. Like I think he's still the only character who is looking for Cassie. The others are looking. They're chasing or like.
You're just trying to find the people who robbed the stuff.
But he's looking for him, and he's going to be in the system. And I reckon it's those two characters. I mean, they've got to. They're bound to fight it out. And I reckon he's in jail. Look for Mama's boy to come firing up.
And we finally got a K2SO revelation, or the K2SO bots. Not so much.
There he was. Yeah.
What I
turned up.
enjoyed in this episode the most was how, like, the lady intelligence officer just burns that other intelligence officer.
Yes.
Now that's freaking good.
Office politics.
That
Yeah.
annoying shit. He's like, "Oh, you're taking my sector."
The barbs, like, it's just what a workplace. What a workplace. This was a fascinating episode just to see the personalities on both sides. It's a little bit like the Greens and the Black.
Yeah.
But the manipulations and the jockeying and stuff. And I was fascinated with Mothma's 2 conversations she had.
Yeah, that too. That was interesting.
She had 2 fascinating conversations. First one was Stellan Skarsgård, which I just thought, it's obvious now that he's, like, this is how I see it, right? She's kind of, well, I don't know if he's an extremist, or he might be, but it depends how you see this. I think Stellan Skarsgård sees things getting worse. He really sees the Empire as just being this hardcore thing that will take all guns blazing to bring it down. No more half measures, right? He sees that this is everywhere stuff, and good old Mothma thinks she can have her cake and eat it too. She thinks that she can live the high life, shuffling money through to the rebellion or through the charities, and somehow maintain both. And in this episode, I got the feeling that conversation was him saying, it doesn't work like that. Like, we have to take this to the next level. This just can't. I don't think, like, right now, living a double life is what they're all about. When, when they're in there having their discussion, looking out the window, pretending to smile, making sure that the driver is. And I think he's getting to the point where saying, we can't do this half-measure stuff. We've got to go all in. Like, I hate to tell you this, and it's quite manipulative what he's doing. Like, you could easily argue his ethics, because I think he's manipulating her out of her comfort. I think he looks. There's a look of guilt there, because he knows what he's doing. He's taking a rich woman, wife, and mother, and getting her into trouble that she will not be able to get out of. But he thinks it's just got to happen like that.
Yeah, but the thing is, what he says actually makes sense. Like, the Empire is doing it slowly. Like, you're boiling a frog slowly before it realizes it's been cooked. Like, you know that saying? Like, if they need to raise the temperature quickly so the frogs realize they're being cooked, so they fight their way out.
Right.
It was an announcement. It was an announcement. And I think he knows that the days of him living double life, and her, I think he knows that those days are going to fast come to an end, because people are going to have to pick a side soon. That girl that's with him, I'm calling it. That girl that is with him, that is Leia. That has to be Leia. I looked at her face.
Why would it be Leia? That doesn't even make sense, because that would be one. It would be
Leia.
Why would Leia be disconnected from the Senate by that point?
Yeah.
Like, away from her
She's young. She's young. She's 16. I reckon she's 17, 18, or 19. I looked at her face, and boy, does she look like Leia. Boy, we haven't. I think I'm making the call. That is Leia. I reckon she will. And my call. This is the brave prediction. She's young. She's learning the ropes. She's going to go back and become the princess of Alderaan, but she's going to learn. And she went off and said, "Go kill that." Remember, she then went off to someone we haven't seen before, and says the survivor was Cassie. Go kill him. I reckon she's just this raw, young Leia who's under his tutelage, because you look at her face. I wish I had the picture. Look at her face, the brown eyes, the nose, and notice that camera never lingers on her for very long. I just think that she's just sitting there, right underneath our noses. I think Gilroy is playing. I'm making the prediction. I think that's Leia.
I wouldn't understand how a Senate leader would not recognize that to be Leia.
Because we haven't recognized her as Leia yet.
Well, but that's because we haven't seen her really looking at her. Except for, I thought we did see her in the previous a couple episodes before. But
we've seen her, but her head is covered. Her head is covered. She's very low key. The camera doesn't linger on her. No one talks to her. She's just sitting there.
I guess we'll see and we'll find out. I don't think it's Leia, though.
I looked at her long. Again, this is older than she was in Obi-Wan, younger than she will become. I think she will learn the ropes of the rebellion. I think someone is going to, and there's also, he keeps referring to a friend as well, I think. An ally. And anyway, that's the brave prediction. I'm putting it out there.
Duly noted.
Balls to the wall.
That could be Leia. I'm looking at a picture right now. That could be Leia, especially with the hair. You're right. The hair's like...
Her nose. I just thought... Anyway. So I thought, getting right back to your point, you talked about how interesting the Empire was.
Yeah.
Gift. And this week, again, that hasn't ceased, right? That's still just incredible.
But they made the rebellion again. Now, once you start putting the pieces of how a rebellion comes together outside of the ragtagness of it, it becomes interesting again to me.
Yeah, because it's going to be hard. Like that girl who I say is Leia said, "Go kill Cassie." Like,
yeah,
go kill. Like so.
Yeah.
That's.
He's not dead. Yeah.
She does kind of look like Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm putting it.
I don't think she's Leia.
We're seeing that being a rebellion is just not the romantic notion we saw in Star Wars, where you fly up to a base, shoot a couple of bullets or lasers into a hole, and then disappear. Like it is complicated, and that was what we saw in Rogue One, which Gilroy was also part of. So he's really keen to start saying this rebellion thing is messy because everything is messy when you have an oppressive power beating people down, and people have got to do whatever they can with whatever resources they have to kind of fight back. And the rule books kind of go out the window sometimes,
So, but that's I guess for me is just like this episode was very interesting, transitional for me, because again, then it goes back to one. Let's talk about the first time they finally made a mention to anything else outside the Star Wars lore with Palpatine. So it's an interesting component to add, because you know what, it's weird. I don't feel the power of Palpatine. Like like in the previous, in other Star Wars, you mentioned the Emperor, and you feel the fantasy variation of it. In this one, when they mentioned Emperor Palpatine, it felt wrong. I felt like there should have been a president or a prime minister, but Emperor feels like you shouldn't have any direct contact to this person. In fact, you might not even know this person exists in this element. Like, I wouldn't expect a commander or a colonel in the military to know about Emperor Palpatine. I expect them to know about Prime Minister something, President this.
But the thing is, you have to go back. Palpatine used to be a senator, and to be a senator, people will know him, right?
Yeah.
And
but that's people in power
as well.
But that's the thing; it's people in power. Whenever he was just Palpatine, it was Senator Palpatine. He's a person, yada yada. When he became Emperor and then showed to be a Sith, which was a secret for all that time, the Sith Lord always sits in the back, and then it's his apprentice that's also in the front. The Sith and apprentice component of it feels like it shouldn't be something that people can just mention like it's nothing, because it goes back to making the Jedis and the Sith a regular component of the universe. And what we took from 4, 5, 6, when Han Solo initially came into the scene, there was not a whole lot of belief in the Jedi. Even Rogue One kind of provided that element where it was like some people believed in the Force, but it was kind of like this offset religion of people, and you just go with it. So when you're talking Emperor Palpatine of the Empire, does not make sense to the hierarchy that they are speaking of right now. I just feel like it was an offset. Like, I like the fact that there was a connect. I just didn't like the people who were making.
So to try to give it, it's kind of, if there was a bank heist in downtown, New Orleans, and someone said, "Well, President Obama's really worried about that."
Right.
About a bank a bank heist in New Orleans. It's going all the way up from. So that's what you're saying?
Yeah, it's true. The hierarchy didn't make any sense. I need to see, like, if we're getting to Emperor Palpatine levels, this is the closest units, the generals of the generals that know of his existence. And then everybody down the road, it goes from that point. Even if you knew the senator, as far as you're concerned, the senator no longer is an element. He's forever injured or something to that effect. But he's the Emperor.
Okay.
Let's remind our friends to please click on the subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you know when we have new videos out.
Subscribe.
Subscribe!
Garbage dog. Oh, die.